Welcome, amazing realtors, investors from across the country. And today is February 14th, 2019, and this is Mastermind call number 215. And happy Valentine's Day to everyone. We love each and every one of you on this call. So I just wanted you to know that. I don't have any news to share today. Tim, anything you'd like to share with the group?
I just have some brilliant advice for all of you who have a significant other that you wish to be nice to today. Be especially nice to them. It will bear great rewards for you.
Okay, that's the best advice you've given in months. Chad, anything from a trading perspective you'd like to share?
If you're looking for the perfect gift, buy your mate Probate Mastery.
Great. That's a good one.
The Mastery class, so February Mastery is planned for next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 2 p.m. on. If you're interested, just jump to Education and Training in the subscriber portal or on the public site, and all the information is there. It even has its own brand and logo now, so
wow.
All the details you should need are there. So that's all I got.
Cool. Yeah, I saw the many polls about the logo. Did you pick it, or did you let the customers choose it, or both?
Well, kind of both. So I ended up circulating all 4 CPE logos because it was such a mixed view. So once you become a CPE, you can choose which one is you like best or works best for your marketing piece.
Oh, nice. Excellent. All right, Tommy, anything you'd like to share with the group, sir?
Nothing specific, just as usual, if you need anything, we're here to help. Just best way to get us, send an email to support@alltheleads.com, or if you're in your account under support, just contact us. We do track all those items and then assign the appropriate person to get back to you as quickly as possible. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Just define exactly what you're looking for, and we'll get back to you quickly. And that's it.
All right. Well, we have 3 people in the queue. We usually have room for up to 10 on these calls, so don't be shy. Challenges, places you're getting stuck, things you need help with, wins we particularly love. We hear all kinds of great stories during the week, and then it seems like the busy agents that are out there doing deals often don't show up on the calls. So I heard a couple great lightning strike stories this week. If either one of you are on the call, I think one of them was Trisha Roy. Please don't be shy. Jump in, and I'd rather have you share the group than have me tell the story. Share it with the group. But so hit *6 and hit 1. In the meantime, let's go to our first caller. First up this week is phone number ending in 7511. You're up first.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hear you great.
Okay, good. My name's Maria. I'm a realtor, but I've pivoted. I'm going to be more of a wholesaler investor. I'm in Northern Virginia, but I'm moving to the Charleston area, and my family's in the Spartanburg, Greenville area. I just sent out a mailing with you guys to Charleston and also Greenville County. I'm trying to figure out what the best way is to figure out what counties to go for. Charleston has 200 leads a month. I'm sorry, that's a flip. Greenville has 200 and Charleston has 25. Do you guys have any advice on how to kind of pick my counties?
Well, you are allowed to take both. You are allowed to take both of them. We don't restrict you, so I'll start with that. Right. But go ahead, Chad.
I mean, really, it's you've got to determine. So, is your strategy just wholesaling? Like you don't want to close on anything?
Well, I actually have a rehab going on right now in Spartanburg.
Okay.
So I want to do probably 5 of those a year, and eventually I want to do holds, but I want to start with wholesaling. Yeah.
Okay. So have you done market research to see? Obviously, if you pulled off, if you bought a flip, I'm assuming you did some research on the retail market there, right?
Right.
So it really comes down to researching and comparing the markets against each other. If you're just wholesaling and you want to just just move deals,
Right.
I would say look at the market that has the best, the highest amount of rental properties, because most of your wholesales, you can make the biggest spread wholesaling to landlords.
Okay.
Where with a flipper is going to be trying to get in at a wholesale, at your price.
Right.
So if you see yourself doing more of that, at least in the short term, if it's all about generating cash, I would gravitate toward whichever market has the most rental properties. Unless they're, that's my advice. You can typically make more money on a wholesale to a landlord. But if you see yourself doing long-term buy and hold, then I would start to look at things like school systems. So where is the best school system and the lowest price neighborhood is where I want to be for those, right? So I think you just have to do your own market research and then decide. It really doesn't matter, which one you choose from our standpoint. It's everybody goes through, regardless of your demographics or what kind of house you live in, you go through, chances are most of those people are going to go through probate. So it's really a more of a personal business decision for you. Then you'll know which county to focus on for your current strategy.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
And the one thing I was going to add is, and it does vary greatly by market, but typically the counties that have a ton of leads, there's going to be a little more competition. You're going to get fewer leads, and that obviously that county with 25, but your conversion rate's going to probably be a little bit higher or quite a bit higher. So really, they're both good. I think our average number of leads nationwide is somewhere around 70 or 80, but we have agents that are very successful. There's a county in California that gets 5 leads a month, and we've had people there for years. And then we got Harris County, Texas, that gets, I think about 700 a month. So I wouldn't go just on the volume, but it depends what you're trying to accomplish. Chad, it would seem like for the wholesaling, because it's a lower percentage, that for investor, it might be better to go in the county with more leads. Just all else being equal, would you agree with that?
To me, the first thing I would look at in either market is at first I wouldn't look at MLS. I would go to the tax records. Right. And I would look as a percentage how many of the transactions last year were cash versus financed. And if there's a lot of if there's more than 25% cash deals, that's a prime market for wholesaling. If for example, if there's 200 probate leads, but it's a neighborhood where everything sells at retail price and 90% of it's financed, then no. I would say go to a county with 50 leads where you have 50% cash deals. So that's when I moved from Hawaii to Virginia. And one of the first things I did, I pulled a GIS, a year's worth of GIS and a year's worth of MLS, and I analyzed them separately. And what I figured out is, in certain zip codes in that major market, like in 2 zip codes, 90% of transactions were cash. So I just focused on those 2 zip codes specifically and built my buyer's list, bought some houses, flipped them, made some quick cash, and then moved into fix and flip. So that's how I would look at it. But probably where there's more leads, there's more opportunity.
Well, I would think that, but with what they explained to me with you guys in Charleston, South Carolina, which obviously, there's a lot of ton of opportunity, that it was harder to get the leads from the courthouse now. They used to get like 3 times that amount. I have no idea why, but for some reason.
Well, even if it's harder, we're still getting them all. There's some counties where we have to go back 4 or 5 times just to get one list, but we still get all of the leads.
Okay.
So it may have gotten harder to gather, but we're still going to get 100% of the recorded leads for that period. Dig in and do some market research. If you feel like you're not finding what you need, you can call the main line and ask for me, and I'll give you some resources to kind of help you
Well,
to your
let me
market.
also comment on what she said. There is certainly there are some additional changes in that particular market. The state, almost on a statewide basis, they've made some changes to how they are furnishing information in that state in South Carolina, and so it is a different marketplace now than it was 6 months ago. So what we're doing is we're having to be far more the right word is not clever, but we have to be far more careful about how we get it, because there are increasing concerns about privacy and things like that. Now, probate is a little bit different in that it is a public record, and that information should, in fact, have to be made public, because the personal representative is the legal representative of the estate, and if that information isn't public, then the whole premise of probate has no bearing, because the basic reason is for people who have claims against the estate to potentially file them, so they get settled first, then the estate gets settled out to the heirs. And your state's made some changes, and we are reflecting to those changes, but it has become more difficult to collect data in that state in the last 2 months, really. But we're staying on top of it and doing everything that we can, and there are, in fact, certain counties that we're having real struggles getting, but we continue to work with it, and that's what we do for a living, so we'll continue to do well. But she's correct about what she said.
Okay, that's why I'm trying to, it's a difficult decision to make, because I know the opportunity's there, but okay.
I would put it this way, and this is just kind of a point to ponder, and that's this, that as long as we're able to get you that information and do the job that we're doing, you're going to be well advised to just continue doing it, because we're going to get to be the only game in town pretty quickly. So you're in the right place at the right time.
Sounds good. Okay. Thank you very much.
So the short answer is just buy them both, and you made the right decision.
Yeah, and that's what I've done.
Now, see, I said that far more subtly, Chad. I was much more subtle than you were.
Good move.
It was my Valentine's Day approach,
All right. Thank you so much. Next up in the queue is phone number ending in 5842. You're up next.
Yeah, hi. This is Vicki. How are you? How you doing?
Hey, Vicki. Great. How about you?
Good. Thank you. She actually asked my question, but I could come up with many questions. So whenever you want to shut me off, just shut me off. No problem. But I have the same thing. I have like 50 that I'm mailing right now, and then next door I have like 250 in New Jersey. So I guess I'll do the market research, like you said, to check, to check to see, should I just stay in my small market or should I go to other markets around me? That's what I was thinking.
These are really hard questions to answer. It's how hard are you willing to work? How much money do you have? How big is your buyer's list? Like, there's so many personal variables.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, realistically, if you can afford them both, there's something you can do with every lead from any county, right? If you're getting in them at the right price. So if you don't have a strong landlord list, you can go build one. So it's a hard question to answer for you.
I'm sorry. What is the best way to do it? And what is the best way to build that? The landlord list.
So for landlords, typically every RIA that I've been to, the vast majority of people in a real estate investors association are landlords. Now there's always flippers in the room, but the majority of people are long-term buy and hold. So a RIA is a really good place. And are you part of your local RIA?
Yes, actually, I was just there last night. You're right. 100% right. Most of them were renters.
Yeah, so that's a great place to meet landlords. You can also talk to, if you have an attorney that gravitates toward investor business, like they do. Typically, there's a couple of attorneys in any town that does most of the investor closings, and you can find out who those are at the RIA. But talk to those attorneys and say, who do you know that's looking to buy, rental houses this year. The other thing you can do is get on Craigslist and look at the rent ads. And when you see the same if you're seeing the same phone number over and over, that's probably a pretty prominent landlord in your market. And just call them and, say, hey, listen, we work with a lot of families in probate. So a lot of the homes are in great condition, but they're not updated. So we can sell them at a, 10 to 20% discount. Would you like to be on our buyer's list? and you can do it that way.
Chad, the same thing you said for attorneys also goes for title companies. If you have a favorite title company you use, ask them to hook you up with title companies know who their investor clients are, and they'll be glad to connect the two of you. Do you both a favor.
Awesome. Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have one more question. I have a contract with the seller whose house burned down, and maybe I got it for too high, but my buyers are not coming up to the number that I need. Is there I already went back to her and I reduced it, and she can't reduce anymore because otherwise she's going to be owning for the mortgage. So any suggestion or anything, where to buy? I get where to find. I guess it's more like for builders because the house was burned to ground and probably has to be removed first. Any advice on that? I'm kind of stuck with that.
So did you get the number from the buyer that you had lined up? Did they give you the number of what they could pay?
Yeah, I mean I have it for I have it on the contract for 100. They only want to pay up to 90.
So you're trying to close a $10,000 gap.
Yeah, I mean really 20 because I need to make a profit.
Yeah.
And I told her I'd pay for her closing, and I hate to go back.
Is that the only buyer that?
Yeah, I got a couple
Sorry,
of buyers all pretty much the same thing.
Is that the only buyer that bit, like that had an interest?
No, there were a couple of them, but most of them are into 80s and 90s.
Okay.
Don't know what to do.
Well, I mean, what you could do is, this is the one we talked about last week, and I recommended. I said it didn't sound like it needed to be a short sale, but you could initiate a short sale to pay off a note, and get it. Are you licensed? Actually,
yes.
You don't have. You are, okay. So you could help have Jim's wife Pam, that he gave you her contact info last week.
Yes.
You could initiate the short sale. I mean, it seems like, if more than one buyer was coming up at that valuation or less, then that's probably accurate. And it's just, construction costs a lot these days. So it's doubtful. It's not likely that you're going to, in the time frame that you're under your contract. How much more time do you have before your closing date in the purchase agreement?
I have another probably 60 days. Something.
And are you still in your due diligence period, so you have a cancellation clause?
No, I didn't put it down, and she didn't request it.
Do
but
what?
she wanted, I told her I'd close as soon as possible, but I didn't put a date on. I got away with.
Do you have earnest money in the deal?
Just $40.
Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like you may have to go the short sale route because, there's not enough insurance money to cover the note.
Right.
So, I mean, and I think the bank's going to engage with you pretty readily on that one because they know they're going to lose their shirt if they don't.
Right. Okay. And one more question. Can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
Okay. Thanks. And I mentioned to you on the email, you very appreciate you helped me out with the email. And a lawyer called me, attorney and lawyer, and I have no idea where he got my number because I haven't done my mailing yet. And then I sent him, the email that you suggested, but he never responded. Now, you have any idea, like, should I try to go to his office or anything else I should do to see what's going on, or you just sit and wait?
So go to the pharmacy, buy one red rose, get a Valentine's Day card. I mean, seriously, just, drop by with a box of donuts or some breakfast in the morning or something like that. Just Sam, I don't know if Sam's on this call, but around Christmas, she went to a neighborhood bakery and she would buy like a box of Italian cookies and then go visit the attorneys. And the gatekeepers instantly fell in love with her. So she was able to get, to talk to 100% of the attorneys she visited. So, we're all human. We all like treats. So if you're not getting contact with them and you have time, just go buy them a treat and stop by.
Sounds good. I like that idea. That's simple.
Okay. All right, All right, give us a call if you need help with the short sale, and please call back and let us know how the deal goes. Appreciate it. We have three more. Sure, we have three more in the queue, guys. We got plenty of room for several more people. Just hit *6 and hit 1. We're still looking for our win of the week. If you have a success story you'd like to share. Next up is phone number ending in 7500. You're up next.
Well, I've got a few wins if you want to hear about those.
Sure.
This is Tom from Southern California. I've been doing it for about 6 months now, and I'm seeing my pipeline grow. Let me see, 2 listings and 2 sales in the last 2 weeks. And these were from people that I corresponded with in my first mailing back in October. So my question is, normally I'm one of those guys that doesn't go on the call. I'm always out working, but it's raining here in California. So my question is, Chad, when I talked to you briefly a couple months ago, you kept talking about your call system, and how is that working once they make contact? How is the lead and respondent to you say, I have a guy, Tom Harness, that will give you a call? Do you set up an appointment? How does that work?
Yeah, so we actually, when you set up your first ISA campaign, you'll fill out an ISA information form. So you'll give us your office address, phone number, years in business, what's your X factor. So we actually make the call like we're sitting in your office. So, hey, this is Chad from Tom's office. He's not in today, but he asked me to see if I could get in touch with you to get on your calendar or get you on his calendar, yada, yada. So it's going to sound like they're personally working for you in your office. When the appointment is set, you'll get an email immediately and, a hot lead notification. So you'll know within, literally within usually seconds or minutes, you'll be notified. And the best thing to do is even if we, like 20% of the time we're setting face-to-face appointments, and the remainder we're setting a follow-up phone appointment. Either way, I suggest you jump on the phone, confirm the appointment, get their email address so you can send them a calendar request. Just a good reason to grab their email. And see if you start the conversation. Be like, oh, okay, great. Well, listen, you talked to my assistant. I didn't get a ton of details on the property, and I need to do some homework. Have you got just a few minutes to answer a few questions? Okay, great. And then get into the real estate conversation. So we're spotting motivate. So we're going to spot do they own real estate, and is there a motivation to sell? And we're going to go for the appointment. So you're not going to, we won't go. The ISAs aren't going to go as deep as a lot of the conversations we have on these calls.
Now here's because here's I would say 75-80% of my contacts come between 4 to 7 o'clock at night, California. Hardly anybody answers the phone during the day out here.
Mm-hmm.
I just see my phone blows up from 3 to 8 o'clock every day. So I just, I'm evaluating. You guys are what, in East Coast time?
We're East Coast, and right now we're probably, we're not working until 8 o'clock Pacific, but we are working on solutions for that. We want to be able to call, basically from 8 to 8 in all time zones. So that's a change that's just around the corner for us.
Okay. In just a comment that I find that, a very small percentage are ready to sell immediately. Like most of my wins are coming 4 months later. And I've got, probably in March, I've got 6 or 7 people that I've started contacting in October and November. So I'm just seeing a pipeline growing here. So I'm trying
Good for you, Tom.
Be more
that's great.
efficient. Yeah. So it's just for anybody that's new, just stay in the game and you know, I probably make 1,000 phone calls a week. So, in 2 to 3 days, I'm out in the field. Do you have? I'm in Riverside County, so it's, you know, bigger than most states. I've had a few comments where, have you overcome the objection of, well, you're not local? Like I'm in Riverside, and probably 40% of what I'm dealing with is out in Palm Springs. Yeah, it's only an hour away, but a lot of people, you know, it's highly competitive. Have you had any suggestions on people that have commented that you're not local?
So are you okay working that market? Are you knowledgeable there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the next time you hear that, you need to raise the pitch of your voice just a little bit and go, I'm not local.
Yeah.
And then shut up. And do
Define
not
local.
say a word.
Okay. Yeah.
And then what you're going to get back, you'll figure out if it was an objection or if it was just them filling space because they didn't have anything better to say, right? So just put it back at them, mirror that to them, and then hope they'll show you either it was a false objection or the true objection will come out. What you'll probably find is it's all based in perception. And if they say, well, you know, I mean, you don't know that market, then boom, there's your first no, and that's where negotiation starts, right? So now you're in a real conversation. And you have an opportunity to show them you are knowledgeable, you are willing to be there, even if it means you have to drive there 2, 3, 4 days in a row for showings or whatever it is. And it gives you an opportunity to talk about it. So you're no longer trying to feel your way through a conversation based on blind perception. You've got it out in the air. You know what their problem with you is, so you have a chance to address that. So I would just try that. I mean, that's going to be common in every market, but chances are they don't have any real objection to working with someone out of town. They just have this preconceived notion that their realtor should be next door. And
correct.
If you can provide the same level of professionalism, if you can exceed their expectations of professionalism and market knowledge, then it's a moot point. It should be easy to blow. You know, you'll break through that objection real easy.
Have you sold property in Palm Springs before?
Yeah, I've had a few probates out there. So I've just, like I said, with the internet, everybody's local. So
yeah.
Well, two things. First off, you're in the most mobile market in the United States. Southern California is a market filled with people who spend hours and hours a day in their cars, and I lived out there as well. And so, I mean, you've got that part of it. The other side of it is that if you have already sold property in that county, then one of the things you need to make sure of is, well, hey, you know, and Chad gave you the best answer of all, but also you can point them back, if you're not doing this, point them back to your website where you can show previous sales in that marketplace and get some testimonials from people in their market if you're looking at that. The other thing I'd add is that there's a lot more people in Riverside County than there are in Palm Springs, and the majority of the sales that are coming from out-of-market sales are coming from Riverside County. So you not only have familiarity with their county, but you're bringing the buyers over from your county.
Correct. Okay. All right. Thank you much.
Tom, thank you so much.
You're the only realtor in Palm Springs that brings donuts to every listing appointment.
You're on a roll today, and flowers, right?
There you go. One thing I really want to reiterate that you're doing so right. It amazes us how many of our agents will try this for a couple months and then decide it doesn't work, and then 3 months later we hear back from them because their campaign finally kicks in. You know, if you're learning that these leads, or you're a classic example that these leads season extremely well. You didn't get gangbusters out of the gate, but man, you're reaping the rewards now. So congratulations, and so far you're definitely our winner of the week. Go ahead, Chad. You wanted to add something?
Is Tom still unmuted?
Yeah,
he's still good. He's still good.
I was going to ask, and we went down a different path. So tell us about the deals that you referenced, like what held them up to that 4-month mark? Was it the court, or like what was the delay in those deals? What are you seeing?
A lot of them, let me see, they have busy lives. Let me see. One was the one I just listed this week was that she was uneducated, and she just said that I was the only, they get the 50 letters the first day of the filing, and then I was the only realtor to continue to call.
Yep.
So it was just follow up. I did have some get over here immediately and sell it to the investor, and we want an investor sale. They didn't care about the market or anything like that. They just wanted it off their book. Right. So, but what I find is my appointments in March are, they're just too busy to get out there and take care of mom and dad's property. So, after, 2 calls a month, I've set up 3 appointments for the first and second week of March. So, yeah. Only because they're going on vacations.
It sounds like, you're doing everything great. Some of the things that you can do to kind of shorten that cash conversion cycle, like the amount of time it takes you to get one sold, you can kind of use your, step up your level of service to shorten the time frame and offer them more help. So a lot of folks are caught up with, we have to take off work and come in for a long weekend and go through the house and yada, yada. So, but what if you offered to get a key from the caretaker or the neighbor, show up with your estate sale company, shoot a very detailed video of the inventory, have that estate sale company send them an estimate and their options for sale, and then tell them they don't have to lift a finger. Like, you just indicate what you don't want sold.
For the ones that I've run into, there's a trust level first, and then as I persistently call and give tips and stuff like that, I'm building up the trust. I haven't found anybody that is just openly, come get all this crap out of this house. I want to be over with it. I have not. I analysis it down to that they're just, this is a cold call, blindly trusting some guy. So that would be one thing that I'm building up a trust level.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Well, great job, my friend. Thank you so much. We got 6 more in the queue. Go ahead, Chad. You wanted to say one more thing?
Yeah, just to wrap that up. So 4 months is not, that's a lot shorter than what we would normally see off of, an internet-generated seller lead, or like oftentimes, even FSBO and expireds might just be tired and will hold it off the market, and they might not sell for another 8-9 months. So it's certainly a reasonable amount of time, but as you get better at this, just be looking for those things like, what can I do so they'll take action right now? And I use the estate sale as an example, but anything you can do to move them, another step down the road in their best interest, not pressuring them just to try to get a commission check. But anyways, not being critical of what you're doing, because it sounds like you're doing everything. You're doing extremely well. I was just thinking of how can we make it quicker for you in your market?
Yeah, I'm always looking to streamline, because this database is snowballing, and I lost my assistant because he made one deal and disappeared. So,
Great job, man. Thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate it. You're definitely in first place for the winner of the week, and we're going to go ahead and close the queue now. We've got 6 in the queue, and last up, I know, is another great story. Tricia, Rory, you're going to be last up this week. Next up is phone number ending in 6248. You're up next.
Morning. This is Joyce in Orange County, California.
Hey, Joyce.
I am hoping that you can help me with my attempts to get my arms around the Lead Follow campaign. I was in the initial beta starting in November, and I got an email this morning that has me bumfuzzled. It tells me that my campaign began on January 13th, and it ended on the 12th of February, and gives me some statistics, and then it says, and some definitions for the statistics, and then it says, thank you for your patience while we continue to pull this program together. In the future, we hope to auto-generate an email when your campaign begins and some statistics mid-campaign, and then follow up at the close of your campaign with the final statistics and a close status. I'm confused. I don't know how my campaign got closed, and I don't understand the thought being generated here.
So the campaign that you signed up for was a 30-day period, and it sounds like you got the report for the 30 days. And right now everything has to be pulled manually, and hopefully by next Friday, it's looking like we'll have the software built, so you'll have a dashboard where all this pulls back in, and you'll be able to see the number of impressions, the number of clicks, number of leads, which websites are the top referral websites, where the clicks are coming from. All that stuff will be available to you. We just simply don't have that. So right now what's happening is we're manually pulling data and then individually emailing you guys on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So if you want to go through any more specifics, we won't put everybody on the call through it. I'm happy to sit down with you and look through it, or Cindy, you can call support, and we can go through the report and answer any specific questions about your report.
But as of now, I am not involved in the lead follow campaign.
If you didn't sign up for a second round, then no, you're not. So it's just like letters. So if you send one letter, we fulfill it, and then you have to order your next one if you're not on autopilot. With the lead follow, the campaigns are set up in 30-day increments. So we went back 12 months to build your audience, but the campaign only runs forward 1 month. So if you wanted to run like a 6-month campaign, you would need to set up a sequence and say, I want to order this for the next 6 months. Just like with letters, you order letter 1, 2, 3, and then it fulfills over time. And lead follow is the same way. So you give us the length of your campaign, and it's in the budget is in 30-day increments. So for $150, we'll market to 12 months worth of leads for the next month.
I see. So basically, I need to alert you every month that I want to continue. Is that basically what you're saying?
Or just put it on autopilot, which we can do now.
Okay.
So because you were in the very first round, we've basically just made a post on Facebook and started running. We went from the not existing to a sprint. So now we've built it into our system. We now have an order form, and you can sign up and click autopilot. So every month when a new leads list comes in, we'll add that to your audience and cut off the 13th month, and then it'll run for the next 30 days. And if you're continuously running, at some point we'll be marketing, like to a year's worth of leads for 12 months. Like we can do them, we can follow them for 12 months.
And if you don't mind, if you'll just drop us an email, send us a quick email to support@alltheleads.com, and let us reach out and talk with you about this, and we'll get you squared away and get you put on autopilot and explain this in a little more detail to you, because you did start with us early, and we appreciate that, and we'll bend over backwards not only to make sure that you understand it, but we'll get you lined up so it happens like clockwork and you don't have to worry about it.
All right, perfect. Next up is phone number ending in 0072. You're up next. Are you there?
Yes, hi. Good afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity. I am a marketing manager for a individual real estate agent, and she was looking to diversify her strategy for listings and had asked me to look into probate. So I did some internet searching, and it seemed like your firm seemed to be more aligned with providing probate leads specifically for real estate agents, so it seemed like a perfect fit. So that's why I am on the call today, and was wondering, I just have several questions on how the program works. Was wondering if this would be the proper forum for me to ask those questions.
Actually, if you don't mind, because anybody's welcome on these calls, but most of these people are subscribers and have been with us for a while. I have your phone number here. As soon as this call's over, can I give you a call back at this number, 0072, and I'll walk you through the whole program?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And what's your name? What's your first name?
Yeah, my name is Ray Smith.
Ray, give me about 5 minutes after this call is over, and I will call you right back. Appreciate you being here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Next up is phone number ending in 5952. You're up next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Hi. I'm from Southern California. Hi, Jim. Hi, Chad.
Hey there.
Yeah. You know, I had a couple of questions. I don't know whether this is going to be enough time. First of all, I have a success story. I just took a listing 2 days ago, a probate listing. You know.
Awesome. This sounds like Soji. Is this Soji?
You know that's me. You know that's me.
I know your voice, yes, sir. Well, congratulations, Soji. I know the market you're in, and I'm sure it was not a cheap listing. What was the listing price?
No, it wasn't. And I just closed another one the other day, and it was a big commission too. So
what are give us the details on the two deals real quick. What were the prices?
Well, the first one I called the person, but it wasn't the probate. They had another property. Okay, the property I called them wasn't the property. It was another property that they had been battling with. So when you said the lead get seasoned, kind of like it was another property that he gave me the listing on. So I just did that. I had an investor. I put it on the market. My investor won the bid, and it was a good commission. So that was good. So this other one, he had a lot of agents coming at him, but I had a direct investor. So I guess he saw my reputation, because I had, kind of like over the years, I've really built a solid rep. Because I used to sell a lot of ROEOs, so he decided to go with me. So I have the listed. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, what's the sales price of those two deals? What were the sales price? I'm just trying to get an idea of your.
The first one, the sales price wasn't much, but it was the money that I made from the investor. That made it really worthwhile.
Okay.
So because I just don't sell like that. If I represent the investor, I get bonuses. So
great.
That's how. Yeah. Okay, so I guess the point, like the other gentleman Tom was saying, I guess it's just the persistence, and I'm really because I talked with Chad the other day, and he really gave me, some good approach, because I was just playing game of numbers, so I'm developing, kind of like reading from Chad. Anyway, my questions are this, okay? I wanted to find out from you guys, like how to approach attorneys. I know how to approach, go over to the office and all that. After the initial approach, how do I do, kind of like a kind of consistent follow-up that will make them come to know me and hopefully, kind of like pick me as one of their agents?
So I'll give you 3 ideas. One is I recommend in Probate Mastery, like in building your local market knowledge, kind of the last step is to establish long-term relationships with probate attorneys that you can bounce things off of. So if you come up with a deal that has title issues or the family has questions or just something you've never encountered, it's a reason to pick up the phone and be like, hey, I know you do this all day, every day. I'm just a sales guy. Have you ever seen this? And what does it mean? And it gives them a chance to teach you something, which is going to kind of create a bond. Now, if you've never spoken to the attorney, don't do that to open the relationship. But over time, as you meet them and you need to find ways to be back in touch in front of mind, call them and stroke their ego and say, hey, listen, you're one of the sharpest attorneys I've ever met. And I know you've got ton of experience in probate. I thought you could help me quicker than anyone. So I got a question. Have you got just a minute? And just touch base every once in a while with something to talk about that's related to probate. So they realize you're actively working in the space and you respect their expertise.
Right.
Shorter term, you can, a good reason to get back in front of them is every time you have a closing, buyer or seller, you should offer that person you should offer them a free consultation with your estate planning team. And you can put all these to one attorney, or you can spread it all over, across multiple attorneys, but at least make that part of your service after the sale. So every single closing, after every single closing, you get a testimonial, you send a thank you gift, and maybe even the gift is a free hour consultation with a family law firm. So congratulations, you just bought or sold one of the largest assets of your life. I feel like it's my duty to make sure that you at least know your options for protecting your estate or your assets. And here's a certificate for one free hour with my attorney. And I did this with contractors as well. It was how I really I did it to keep my contractors busy. So when I had a hot potato and tossed to them, they would get to work, right? So something I did with every single closing on the buy side is I gave them a certificate signed by me and signed by my contractor that was redeemable for an hour of contract work. And the contractor didn't even invoice me because he knew if he shows up for an hour, he's going to be there for 16 or 18 hours before they quit finding things for him to fix, right? So it was really beneficial for the contractor because they always picked up extra work. They would usually be there for a week or two of handyman work just because I gave them that certificate. So you could do the same thing with the attorneys. Just give them, say, listen, I'm looking to partner with an attorney, and I'd like to, every client that I work with deserves to have that. And, obviously I would expect you're going to make money, and I'm not going to ask for any of that. So can you do free consultations for my clients? And if the answer is yes, then every time you have a closing, you have a reason to touch one of those attorneys, right?
Right. Okay, that's true. That's true.
So and then the simplest idea, and the one that you could put into play this week, is get trifold brochures. Have done really well for our folks with attorneys. Do you have a brochure? Have you designed one of those with us?
The trifold? No, I haven't. I plan on doing that today.
Okay. So yeah, work with Alyssa. Get a brochure that you're proud of. Go to Sam's Club or wherever and buy those little plexiglass holders that sit on the desk. And just go back to each of the attorney's offices you've been to, and it's like, hey guys, haven't seen you in a while. I just got these made, and I think they might really benefit you guys. Do you mind if I leave it here? Cool.
Oh, okay.
Now you have a reason to go back every week because you need to go check and make sure they have enough brochures. And
yeah.
Right. So they're going to get to know you just as much as they do the guy that brings the coffee and office supplies. So every week they'll be expecting to see you. And even if they don't give you a referral, it gives you a chance to drop by, hang out in the office, drop some compliments, and stay front of mind with all of them.
Right. Now, these brochures that we will be having, they will be changing every week, correct?
No, I would just design one brochure, print 5,000 copies, and just keep some in your car because the holder is going to hold maybe 50 of them. So every week or every 2 weeks or once a month, whatever your interval is, just do your rounds and offer to refill the brochure holders.
Oh man, I told you before, Chad, you're amazing, So I know I told you already. We
love your enthusiasm, Soji. Thank you so much, and you're in the running for the win of the week. We have 3 more in the queue. Did that help, or do you have more questions?
No, there were just 2 more questions that I just wanted to ask. They were quick. Chad,
Sure.
I think you mentioned joining the California Bar Association. Even though I'm not an attorney, and the Fiduciary Association. Is that possible in the state of California?
I don't know. Last week was the first time I've heard of a non-attorney being part of a bar. I would certainly call the California bar and ask. I think that caller was from Florida, but it's a great idea. I know that you can be part of, and I think you and I talked about this, but I know that you can join a fiduciary group. So they have a professional association. They usually meet once a month. And I know that you can do that because several of the folks that I've worked with are in those groups.
Okay, thank you. Hey.
All right, thank you very much. Soji, I hope I didn't cut you off. I thought you were done, but we have 3 more in the queue. We may run just a little bit over today, guys, so thanks for your patience. We're having some great callers. Next up is phone number 8922. You're up next.
Yeah, hi. This is Rick. I'm also from Southern California.
Hey, Rick.
Two main questions. One is about sort of the probate process in general, and I apologize in advance if this is a bit of a newbie question, but my understanding of probate is that, it varies. Laws vary from state to state. Am I correct in assuming that?
Very.
Yeah. Although the general process is somewhat similar.
Correct.
Certain things have to happen. So, I'm wondering when, probate has to open. In California, there's the, petition that starts probate. And then I see also that at the same time, letters of administration are also generally filed. And so when does the petitioner have the right to actually sign the document legally, kind of moving forward with selling a property?
When they're no longer the petitioner, when they become the executor, administrator, or fiduciary. So in the interest of time, I'm going to blow through this really quick, but we'll walk you through kind of the first part of probate. So somebody passes away. One thing you said that was incorrect is there's no preset time. There's no rule or law on when you have to file probate, just that you have to file probate. Now, what we find is most families will initiate around the 2-month mark. They will have processed the loss and they'll go to the courthouse. It's not guaranteed. Some people wait 10 years. Some people go the next day. But it's usually around the 2-month mark. They will file probate at the clerk's office. That's when they become known as the petitioner. Now, if there was a will, they'll be named in the will. Then at the initial hearing, they'll validate the will. They'll ask for objections. If there are no objections, then they usually will appoint that person and they become the executor. If there was no will, somebody from the family will step up and say, I'm willing to administrate. The court will do the same thing. They'll look at all the documents, ask for objections. If there are none, then that person will become the administrator. If nobody steps forward or there's infighting in the family, the process will happen just the same, but the title is then fiduciary in California. From that point on, that's when they have the authority. So after they're appointed in the court and they gain that title, they're giving the letters of testamentary or letters of authority in some states. From that point on, they can sign anything and act on behalf of the estate. Now in California, the law it has a lot more intricacies than in most states. So that's where it really starts to deviate from other states is, the process. And mainly the biggest difference is the court is involved in almost every step of the process in California. But there's a loophole. So you can, if the administrator petitions the court for full authority, then they can make decisions like they would be able to in Texas or Virginia. It can be a way more efficient process.
Okay.
Good.
Got it.
All right.
If you don't mind, real quick, this second question ties right into this first. So I try to contact, as a broker and investor, prospective sellers immediately, so maybe right after probate's been started. If I'm getting in front of them, though, if whatever they sign at that point doesn't really hold any legal ground. So in your experience and others, do you try to get some sort of commitment out of them or something to kind of, hold them to, because they're obviously going to get bombarded by many others?
Yep. So in most every market, with the exception of some counties in Southern California and some in Florida, are the only two places I've heard of courts kind of being behind. But in most markets, like for 99% of the people on this call, by the time you speak to the PR, they will have the authority to sign. Now, if you're in one of those markets where they don't, what I usually suggest is, are you the broker, or do you have a broker?
I think we lost him. I'm not sure what happened, Chad, but it looks like he may have gotten disconnected.
Well, I'll finish. I think he said he was a broker, so he wouldn't have to run this by his broker. But what you can do from a brokerage standpoint is write up a letter of intent to sell or a letter of intent to list. And it's, as you said, it's not going to have any legal, not much legal clout, but it's the mental commitment that you're looking for. So they're making a decision to sign, a one-to-one commitment to you. So mentally, that has a lot of power. So if they don't have the authority, you still want to get something signed, do a letter of intent to list or a letter of intent to represent seller, whatever you're comfortable with that being. Bounce it off your broker, bounce it off your attorney. From the acquisition side, you can just simply go to a letter of intent to purchase, and that's pretty straightforward.
All right, excellent. We have two more in the queue. My guess is we're probably going to go about 5 minutes or so over. But, boy, I tell you, almost nobody's dropped off the call, guys. Thank you for hanging in there. The next up is phone number ending in 6868. You're up next.
Hi, this is Garland from Texas. And,
yes, sir.
I'm not a subscriber, but I have a source where I get probate leads from already, but was curious if I could use you guys' services at all.
You know what? Probably the easiest, depending on what service you're looking for, Garland, but if you would, I've got your number too, so after the call, I'll have somebody from customer support reach out to you. There's some things that we reserve just for subscribers, and there's some of the things that we'd be glad to help you with. So rather than get into it on the call, if it's okay, we'll call you right back after the call. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
That'd be fine.
All right.
Thanks.
Excellent. Perfect. And last up this week, I already know her story, but Tricia, thanks for coming on the call. Tricia's up last.
Hey, Chad, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, my question is, I don't have a question, so I'm just sharing a story, and I didn't know this was so uncommon because I'm just a brand new subscriber. Apparently Jordan called it the lightning strike. This was my first phone call from my first set of leads. I am driving to Orlando for, I remember, I think it was an instructor meeting or something like that. I'm at the Florida Association Realtors all the time, and I was driving for something, and I thought I printed off the first set of leads thinking I'm going to make the phone calls on the way there. And I called this lady, and the connection is her mother. I knew her peripherally in the community. She passed away, and she's from the Indian community. And out of the door, she was like, absolutely, how did you get my number? Where did you get my number? Who gave you my number? My number is unlisted. So I started to tell her that, in this day and age, when we have our number anywhere, it's public. And she cut me off with, she's an IT lead or something in a Fortune 500 company, and I don't need to be telling her how technology works. And so at that point of time, I'm like, okay, this is not going well. So I said, all I want to do is help you. She said, who gave you the number? I want the name of the company that gave you my number. I said, it's just a lead that I bought. I mean, if they have it, I'm sure others do. And she didn't like that idea. But at the end of the day, she was smart enough that she was researching me while we were talking, and she said, you have good reviews, and I'm completely outraged. I'm completely flabbergasted that you wouldn't have my number, and it makes me feel I have no privacy. But and it was not such a short conversation. It took a while, and because just for her to get over a sense of outrage was kind of took a long time. I did not expect it, so I wasn't prepared for it, but I did the best I could. And at the end of the day, she agreed. She said, do you know where my mother's property is? I looked at the address. I'm like, yeah, I know. So she goes, did you know my mother? I said, preferably. I did not even lie once because, that would get me in more trouble than anything else because I'm fairly known in the community. And I got in, she said she would list with me. Not only that, she is in a place where she is looking for some commercial property for her business. And she sent me that opportunity too, that, look of those for her, and she probably will be buying some property. So yeah, excellent conversion. I love your leads. I love the quality of your leads because what that first lightning strike told me is that you're doing something that everybody else cannot. You're getting the phone numbers that actually outrages the client. So I'm excited about doing what I'm doing.
I love it. So I don't know if you even realized the psychology that was at play, like what you were doing, but kudos, like great job. And that's exactly
I'm a people person. Yeah, I mean, I just kind of, I went low key when she was high up there, and I'm a coach. I teach realtors all the time, so I kind of just went with my instinct. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare, so that was all I could do because I had no idea that she would come at me like that.
Yeah. So a couple things. One, typically when someone comes at you about the phone number, just be like, I don't know, my assistant's way smarter than me, and she gave it to me. I'm just driving to. I had a few minutes to make some calls, and just kind of be real casual about it. And usually that'll deal with it. And just kind of use a third party and be like, my assistant is amazing. I don't know where she got it. Obviously the internet. But anyways, I'm glad I caught you, and then go back into the conversation. Usually that will work. But the psychology of what happened to you is you let her vent, like you kept her engaged, where most agents get wrapped around the axle and give up as, they feel uncomfortable and they forget they're supposed to be in control of the conversation. So that person comes at them once, comes at them again, the heat's getting too hot. So they're like, okay, I'm sorry, and they hang up. And then eventually they'll probably wash out because they'll hang up on every objection. You looked at it and said, okay, this is where the conversation starts, right? And you stuck with her, you kept her engaged, gave her a chance to cool down, gave her some reasons to trust you, and then you got, one and possibly another big commercial deal out of it. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, I mean,
Tricia,
it's been awesome. I'm sorry. I also wanted to share. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Please finish.
No. I also wanted to share that when we were talking about attorneys earlier, even prior to getting my first set of leads, I basically looked up online to see which attorneys work in probate because chances are attorneys who work in real estate also work in probate. So I already found 3 attorneys. One is my own, and then 2 others. One is my title lawyer, and another one I already have spoken to them. And the conversation was kind of very smooth. It was like a two-way street. And I told them, you know what, I wanted to know if you are interested in getting more probate leads because what's coming to me is some of them don't have attorneys. So I want to refer them to you, and I want to refer them to somebody who's already taking clients and who will pick up the ball when I lop it to them, because that's what I do with all my partners. When I send somebody to a lender, I want to make sure they're being helped and not getting the runaround from your assistant or something. So I just wanted to reach out to you, make sure you're on board with me. And these were very, very easy conversations, and I'm already finding that these lawyers are kind of already on the leads. I mean, my own lawyer, he's on the leads that you send me. So I'm already building these relationships. And one of them has a resource website, which is, he has built in a resource website for realtors who are looking to list property in the area. So he proved, he was out of the blue, but he proved a fantastic resource to me, teaching me about the probate process, which I really still clueless about.
Well, that's great. I was just going to ask you, Trish, did you get that listing? She said she would list with you. Have you actually gotten the listing yet or not?
No, she's still in probate, and she said I emailed her like maybe 3-4 days ago, and how is it going? Can I help? And she goes, girl, it's not easy. I'm sorry, it's a mess, but hang in there. I said, can I do anything to help you? She said no, but thank you so much for the offer. So
please come back and let us know when you. Yeah, do come back and let us know when you get it. The other thing I was going to say, I can tell you're a great coach because you practice what you preach. You know, it sounded like when she got mad, you got mad with her. You know, so and that kind of diffused the situation. So great job all around. Good job handling it.
Thank you so much. I'm enjoying this. I'm absolutely loving this. My only problem is I need to hire more realtors to take care of the volume.
That's great. Chad, anything you want to add?
Just more realtors, more problems.
Exactly. Guys, thank you so much. This was an awesome call. We had 3 great success stories. We had well over 100 people in the call, and almost all of you are still here. I want to end this call like I always do. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking your Valentine's Day to spend with us, at least an hour of it. You heard some great stories, some great ideas today. I want to challenge each of you, take one thing, one idea, one thing you heard today that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice and come back and share your results next Thursday. Make it a great week, guys. Have a good one, and we will talk to you same time next Thursday.